All right, welcome back to another builder interview segment. Today we have Daniel Wong. Daniel, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thanks for
And
inviting.
yeah, of course. And for many people who do not know Daniel, Daniel was the man who got me into Anime Expo. I couldn't have done Anime Expo at all without Daniel's help, and that was instrumental in me being able to create the club and knowing how to do all the logistics and stuff like that. And we both tag teamed. Uh, was it um, Exhibit Hall?
Yes,
Exhibit
that
Hall
was quite some
for
time
for
ago.
2 years. That was yeah. It
Okay,
was,
yeah, Steven was an amazing uh, partner on this thing, and I couldn't done it without him. I
oh shucks,
one of the day I was dead in the bed. I was not feeling very well. He took control of it. Got everything dealt with. When I came back, it's like, hey, what's going on? Sorry, I was out. But it's like, oh no, Steven got it. Steven got it. I'm like, oh, phew. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
you're too kind. You're making me blush now. But this video is about you. So
Definitely.
we're gonna just kind of just underhand some real simple questions for this builder interview. So how'd you get started with
Mm,
Gundam?
Let's see. It probably took me back when I was like maybe 8 or 9 years old, I think, somewhere around there. I used
Wow.
to
Okay.
actually, before getting into building a Gundam, I actually used to build the regular model kit, like the plain model kits, the chopper, those classic shipbuildings, there's Eisenhower's, MiG-27, and I have a
Yeah.
lot of those.
And you
So
still have them now, right?
not anymore. Not
No.
anymore. I might still have it, but I have to go back to my hometown to see if I still have it or not. Yeah, it was my first thing. I love doing it, and then I did actually have how was it I have an Apache. That was amazing. A friend of mine helped me to complete it. But unfortunately, one of my dad have a guest coming up from Taiwan
Hmm.
and play with it, and we all know where that goes. When a little kid touch a model
Yeah.
kit,
That's Yeah,
boom.
we see tons of posts about that all the time
Oh
on
yeah, yeah. I
Facebook
think I think I saw
and all
there's a
that.
video of a guy actually. It was an article, something like a guy had a bunch of a model kit, and then uh, a kid family came in, destroyed his collection. The parent of the family feels really
Oh
bad and
gosh.
basically fight.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you see that the article somewhere, but
It's like
anyway,
a dime
that's
a
a
dozen story.
yeah. It happens like that, and then at the time I was still a kid and I was pretty upset. My dad was like, you know what? Go ahead and pick another one. I'll buy it for you. So my very first model kit. It was the RX 78 2, the classic Master Grade. I don't know if you can still see it. I don't know. Do you have an idea to pull? Can you pull out something about it?
Oh yeah, yeah, I can pull it out. So let me
Yeah.
see here. You're talking about the RX-78 from like
Way. It was like
what date?
back in 1990s, I think. Um, it was a classic. It was a very classic. I actually still have that. And
Oh, you're talking about the one that has like no articulation,
no articulation. Well, not the
that kind of thing.
non-articulation one. The actually the very first master grade that they ever released.
Oh, the master grade. Okay,
Yeah, the master
gotcha.
grade, the very first one, and they were released together alongside with the Shard Zaku at the time. Uh,
Okay.
that was my first kit. While Steven looking into picture,
Yes.
and you found it? Not yet.
No, not yet, but I'm getting there.
Okay. Yeah. So got that. Started building it, loving it. And then onto that, I built the 144 Zeta Gundam, and then Double Zeta. Those are the first free model kit of Gundam, specifically Gundam, that I've ever built. Uh, so pretty much, yep,
Okay, so
that's the
here
one.
we go. This is
That's
it.
the very first one. Yep, that's the very first one. Gundam that I got. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
good old box.
yeah.
Good
I
old
mean,
box.
it looks like a pretty solid model kit. I'm not gonna lie.
Um, It's pretty solid. It does what it does. Unfortunately, like Steven mentioned, the articulation was a little bit clunky. Not like the new kits that you see right now. That it's very very much more detailed and
Mm.
more articulate oriented, of course. And I'm you know it's very different at the time, especially with the 2.0s and stuff like that that came out recently. Well, few years ago. Um, this has, of course, improved a lot in a comparison.
But you still have this kit though. It's
This one,
somewhere.
I do still have it. I actually, when I first moved from Indonesia to United States, when I first come to United States, I did brought some of the Gundams that I built back in my hometown. Uh,
Okay.
this, of course, included. And yeah, it was a little bit hard to bring to try. Oh, look at that! There's still a picture of Sailor and Amuro there. Uh,
Yeah.
um, it was a bit hard to bring because I actually brought some of the kits that I have not assembled, and then some of the kits that I have assembled.
Mm.
And I had to bring it to the airplane, and then when they do that scan thing, they're kind of looking
Yeah.
at me weird. What the hell are these things? Because I have to carry these on my carry-ons because I don't want to
Yeah.
bring put it into luggage because they might get crushed and all that. But I
Mm.
have to bring it to the carry-on, so they're just looking at me weird. I'm like, what are these? I was like, oh yeah, it's a model kit. Don't worry about it. Nothing serious on it. So they're looking at me really weird. They're like, okay, this is a weird guy. But yeah, those, like I said, those are the first three kits that I built again like this, and then the Zeta Gundam 1144.
Mm.
That one has a very odd coloring. So does the Double Z. The color of the kit, instead of white, you have it like turned to like a little bit like bluish green color now. Because
Oh,
of the age
interesting.
of the kit, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the old kit was old, and oh man, it's very brittle. Not like the new one 144. Oh my goodness, the old one 144 is like brittle. It breaks apart left and right. Oh, it's just nightmare, nightmare, nightmare,
Oh.
nightmare.
So that's actually interesting. So you actually started with the model kits first, and then after that, I I guess you kind of like watched the show here and
Yes,
there.
yes. I
Oh.
the first show I watched was actually Zeta.
Oh wow.
I did not watch the first 78 too. First I was watching Zeta. Oh my goodness. It was long. Long. There's too much filler in there. It's a good Gundam to begin with for me at the time, but it was long. Uh, I don't remember how many episodes that I have to go through, but it was my first. Actually, I was a I am a big fan of Zeta until Asterisk came through. But Zeta was was my first few of the favorite of the original the the UC kits as far as
Interesting.
design
So
and that.
so from a I guess from a like a viewing standpoint, uh, how how do I want to word this? How difficult was it for you to actually dive into Zeta first? Because usually people have the context of the first series before they start Zeta, and Zeta has a completely different tone shift. So how has that impacted on how you enjoy Gundam today?
Well, to be honest, I was trying to get into the show. Basically, of course, I have a few friends who are into Gundam as well, getting their
Mm,
opinion and things like that. And of course, at the time, internet wasn't as reliable as we have right now, where we could just stream everywhere, find it anywhere. Well, not exactly anymore, but in the past, it's a little bit hard to find. So I did try to find whatever I find the easiest at the time.
mm,
Of course, I did watch Zeta and then Double Zeta. Then after that, go back to RX-78 too. But the thing is, the RX-72 at the time that I was watching was the OVA because I have never watched the actual series of the 78 too. I think have you watched the actual original, the non-cut version of the RX-72?
mm. Yeah, that's actually how I started off. Um, Back when after Gundam Wing had aired,
Mm-hmm.
they started doing this huge torrent of Gundam properties on Toonami. So they had, obviously a lot of people remember 8th Heaven's Team, War in the Pocket on the Toonami, like
Mm.
Midnight Run.
Mm-hmm.
They had, I don't even know if they aired 0083, but
No,
they
they did.
did.
They did
They
0083. They
So
did.
that may have been after I had just bought the box set and decided that I was
Oh.
just going to watch it on my own. But they heavily advertised the first series,
Mm.
and it was funny because they used graphics of like I think they used like Gundam Wing graphics and stuff like that in order to advertise it a little bit, because they didn't really know the differences between like all the different Gundams.
Not at a
I,
time.
I may have been misremembering this, but they did show the original series, like 43 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
42 episodes
Mm-hmm.
on Toonami, and so I thought that was like, oh wow, this is very different from Gundam Wing. Um, the art style is obviously different, but the
Mm-hmm.
the themes were very captivating for
Yes.
me. Middle school, I think, was when it came out for me, and when I watched it.
Yeah. So funny thing is, I have not watched Gundam Wing at all.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, that's totally
It is
okay.
it is very interesting. From all the series, okay, let's see. Wing was actually one of the show that I have not touched because,
Wow. All right.
well, yeah, I mean, I love the design of Wing. Don't get me wrong. Especially of course with the most recent revealing of like their side stories one. A lot of the
Mm,
design I really
yeah.
like it. Including that tall geese with the wing custom wing. I don't know if you see. You know what I'm
Oh, the
talking about.
flugel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. It was like, the Flugel was it the Flugel? Ah, darn it, I don't remember. But yeah, the design was great. I only recently discovered that. I'm like, oh shoot, they have that. Actually, that's kind of weird, and really cool. Anyways, yeah, Wing wasn't something that I started with. It wasn't something that I watched at all.
Mm,
Let's see, X. I did not actually watch X's either. And like I said, not everybody have preferences and things like that. But actually, coming back, hold on, let me pedal back a little bit. 0083 was amazing. I
mm.
love 83 to my heart. I mean, it
Oh,
has a great character. Although they kind of messed up the main character a little bit on the show. Originally, Ko was not supposed to be like that.
really? I didn't.
Yeah,
I
no.
didn't know that.
Ko was supposedly this really nerdy mechanic that really loved to tinker with Gundam. He loves that, and they kind of changed that in the show, make him a little bit, I don't know how to say it. It's just a little bit different, but the original design of him is not like that, from my understanding. But
Oh,
but but yeah,
interesting.
coming back, like I said, went back to the Gundam show. I think, at the time, it was I was considered as like a little space opera. Um, the Gundam before that, the UC Centuries was
Mhm.
a little bit different than a lot of the alternate centuries. I called it. I think that's what everybody called it. The alternate centuries, the Wing, the
Mhm.
X's, the G Gundams, and all that. Those are the alternate centuries. Uh, those are different storylines, and with UC, all of them are interconnected together. And where we are at right now, we are about to look forward for the Hathaway Flash, which I look forward to. That's do you remember when it's coming out soon on that?
Maybe like next year
Next year.
at this point.
At this point, yeah. But Hathaway Flash, that is almost all the culmination from the old 0879 all the way to Hathaway Flash is like what, probably like 98? No, maybe even more. I don't remember anymore. That's a long journey for Gundam. That's a long journey, and Gundam is celebrating what, 40 something years now,
Mhm.
or 30 something years, 40 something of years. So it was a good journey. It was a good journey. And like I said, with building the model kit itself is also, um, giving me um, a lot of like quiet time. Like when you try to have too much stuff going on, you just want to break down and just relaxes, and that's when I busted out my Gundam and just like start building the kit. Don't have to worry about anything, just focus on the kit. So maybe at a point it's almost like a meditation, maybe, I don't know. It's just basically just build, clean it up, build it, sand it down. That, that whole entire ritual on us making model kit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so actually that kind of brings up my next question. I was going to ask, um, how do you appreciate Gundam nowadays, or how do you enjoy Gundam nowadays? Because for many people who don't know, you actually enjoy a lot of the video game aspect of the Gundam franchise,
Yes.
and you don't always get a chance to build, even though you're just mentioning that building is oftentimes kind of like a meditation process
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
So yeah, how do you enjoy Gundam nowadays?
Well, I mean, nowadays, with recent releases of the Extreme versus Maxi Boost on, that's a long title, on PlayStation 4, I've been
Ah,
playing that a lot, and actually, from there, I actually saw a few people that I recognize that's in San Diego Gunpla. I actually met Raphael in there.
oh wow.
I don't know if you noticed that was me. I see Gabe also in there a few times. But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting because in the past I did actually um, try to create a group for the EXVS, but unfortunately not going so well. I wasn't too invested to it, and I think I have a few shortcomings on that, and which I realized is
Mm,
unfortunately I wasn't able to do it. But now before the EXPS, we have the G Generation series, the G Generation
mm,
Cross Race, that
yeah.
was released, and then of course I went through Gundam Breaker, or yeah, the new Gundam Breaker, which unfortunately was not cup of my tea. And then after that, we also have the Gundam Breaker, 1, 2, 3, which by the way, I loved it. I love Gundam Breaker series, but not the new Gundam Breaker. Then we have the Gundam Versus. There's that. So I enjoy video game more. Unfortunately, I play more of the video game more so than building the kit side, which causes I have a lot of backlog on my kit in the back, and it's just like in the storage right there, that right
No.
there.
Oh
Yep,
yeah.
right in there. There
Yes.
probably like at least, gosh, like 20, at least 20 kits that I haven't built. Whether it's an SD Master Grade, and I have one perfect grade of Zeta Gundam that I got since 2006, that's still
Wow.
in there. Haven't touched, haven't opened. It's the first perfect grid that I ever have, and I still have it in there. They say it's bad to keep them in there, and I think it is. I have a friend who specifically told me don't keep them too long. As long as you don't open that plastic bag, you'll be fine. But if you open up the plastic, you better build it right away. Otherwise, the plastic will grow brittle from
Really?
from
I didn't know that.
yeah.
That's
But
that's
it's
fascinating.
just I don't know how to prove that, but that's what one of my buddy who are also Gundam enthusiasts that actually told me that yeah, it's better to just build the kit right away when after you open it up from the plastic bag. That's what they say. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Huh.
it is something to do with the plastics and all that.
How long have you kept this model kit for?
Like I
So
said,
you said 2000.
2006, 2007. Let's see.
So
I
about
it was a
wow.
gift. It was a gift from
It's like
my first boss on my first job,
hmm,
and
that's
he want me
nice
to build
boss.
it. Yeah, he initially want me to build it for
Uh,
him, and he
oh
just
okay.
like, you know what, you like Gundams, go ahead, keep it. I'm like, okay, sure, I'm keeping it, but I still have it in there. I haven't touched it at all. So if you
Wow.
ask me,
Okay.
have you ever built a perfect grid before? I will say no, I have not built a perfect grid before. And
But
plus, it's
you
a
own a perfect grade.
yes, I do own a perfect grade. Yeah, so it's still in the back there. I've never touched it. I mean, I touch it. Yes, I did touch it. And it's just like, oh, it looks great. And it's like, but I don't have a time to build it. I still have a lot of little things in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of little things. And again, coming back with the video game, I think the video game has come a long way.
Hmm.
The very first Gundam game that I played, the very first Gundam related play, was the G Generation series, which is of course a mishmash of the different Gundam that goes together in one. I think it was the G Generation F that was in PlayStation One. That was my very first.
G generation. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, actually, wait, no, that is not my first one. The very first one, Gundam specific. Hold on, there's something predates that I just remembered. It was the Gundam Wing fighting game.
I know what you're talking
That
about.
was the
It's
first one that
that
I
is
play in Super Nintendo.
Super.
Super Famicom, Super Nintendo. Yeah, that was the very first one that I play. Now I
Okay,
remember.
I
Now I
think I
remember.
found it. I think I found it. All right, let's see here. For people who don't know what we're talking about,
It was,
it's
yep,
should be this
yeah. There
guy.
you go. The endless
This
duel.
guy,
Yep,
Endless
that's the
Duel,
game.
right?
Yep, that's
Yeah.
the game. That's the game, and you
Let's
got the
see.
all Wing Gundam characters in there. Um, I don't think you get Togias too, but it's basically all the character from the original Gundam Wing. And then I believe like the with the you got Fayette, you got Mercurius. Yeah,
Oh, this was yeah. So I actually never.
that was my very first Gundam that I played actually.
So I actually never played this game, but I watched a lot of videos and I listened to a lot of music from this game. I enjoyed it a lot. That's cool. So this was your first Gundam game.
Yes, this is actually my first Gundam game. Sorry, this is going to be a lot. There you go. Look at that. Someone just uses an extra special. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was my very first Gundam that I played. Well, not exactly very good at fighting game for me. But I
But it's
then after that
enjoyable,
then G Generation.
right?
No, it is very enjoyable. Then after that I started playing G Generation series. And yeah. But again, this of course G Generation was not exactly my first mecha game, but that will deviate from all this conversation. But I'll have that conversation with you another day. But again, yeah,
Yeah.
that was my very first one that I play, and then G Generation on the PlayStation One, and which I followed pretty well, and then PlayStation Two, and then after that now PS4 and or PC. Now the latest, which is the cross on the PC or sorry on the console, there's two G generations. Now the first was G generation cross race, which is consists of most of the characters for the AC centuries. So all
Is
the
that the one
way
that has the Phoenix or the Phoenix?
no,
I don't
not that one.
remember.
That one is the G generation Genesis. So there's two,
Oh,
G
right. Yeah.
generation Genesis and G generation Cross Race. G generation Cross Race will cover most of the alternate centuries. So you got Double O, you got X Gundam, what you call it, IBO.
Mm.
All the IBOs, including the side stories, all the double O's and the side stories, um, and then that's alternate century. And believe it or not, they toss in Gundam Seed in an alternate century, which just makes
Hmm.
sense. But
Oh
Gundam
yeah,
Seed
it is.
is an AC. Yeah, I was like, oh wait a minute, why didn't I think of that before? Gundam Seed is an AC.
Yeah.
You got bunch of Gundam Seed, lots of them, all the side story, all the side characters. By the way, I love Astrid on there from there. Um, and then you have the G Generation Genesis. Unfortunately, G Generation Genesis is available. You have to import it, get the Asia version because it is, since PlayStation 4 is a Blu-ray,
Mm.
um, then you have to get the Asia version, which is a little bit expensive, and you can get all the UC characters all the way until the Unicorn series. So that's the G generation, and it's kind of nice because for me, I enjoy playing the G generation series because I never know what's going on in the missing link.
Mm.
That's one of the series Gundam that never made it here. Um, I don't know what's the storyline about it, so you had a chance to play it, and then you got the white dingoes. That's another side stories too. which is I believe White Dingoes are the GMs. It's a side stories.
Mm,
There's a lot of UC side stories that it was actually very enjoyable. That they unfortunately didn't make it to the states, and they are either in the form of graphic novels, a novel, a manga, or like a short story, like a short anime, and things like that.
mm,
And playing G Generation series actually helped me to at least gain a little access of a story of what's going on.
right.
One of the side stories that I really liked was the Igloo. The Igloo series came over here.
Okay.
Igloo series was amazing, but it
Mm,
very heart wrenching also. So it's going to be a little bit long on that. So
yeah.
that's another day. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your insight on
Hmm.
everything, Daniel. But I think we might have to cut this interview
Yeah.
at
Sorry,
this point in
it took
time.
too long.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. It's all good. But thank you so much for being a part of this.
Hmm.
And I guess we'll see everybody on the next video.
Definitely. Thank you very much
All
for
right.
having me today. Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course. Thank you.